For most of my life, I believed I was a night owl and not a morning person. Then I read The Miracle Morning by Hal Elrod and it literally changed my life. Stick around, I'll share why this book made such a difference and what actually changed for me. Hey everyone, Mark here. Welcome to another episode of Mindset of a Musician. Today's video is a very important one for me because almost exactly 3 years ago I randomly watched a video on YouTube about becoming a morning person, and that led me to read The Miracle Morning. Little did I know that this was the beginning of the biggest change in my life. I want to start by talking about how my mornings looked like before reading the book and what changed after. I want to share a bit of my life to paint a picture of how I used to be because you might recognize yourself in it. So hopefully that gives you the motivation to change as well if you feel stuck. Before January 2023, I stayed up almost every night until around 1 or 2 a.m. I started practicing guitar at around 10 p.m., played until midnight, and then tried to write songs or do ear training stuff. So from a musical standpoint, I was putting in quite a lot of hours, but looking back, not very effectively because my energy levels, they were at their lowest. And because of staying up late, I slept until around 8 or 8:30 in the morning, and I usually snoozed my alarm 3 to 4 times every morning. And when I finally got up, I felt grumpy, stressed, really tired. And it took me at least 2 hours to feel awake or even productive. So that was my life from age 15 to 29. I didn't exercise, tried it once, never stuck with it. I have read maybe 5 books in those 15 years, mostly musician biographies. I never meditated, never journaled, and I was about to turn 30 and I was just frustrated with myself. So my band didn't go viral on TikTok. I felt moody, even depressed most of the times. And I just couldn't figure out what it is because I never focused on myself. The only thing I knew was how to write songs and how to express my feelings through that. But then the S.A.V.E.R.S came into my life. January 23rd, 2023 was the day that changed everything. I had some free time at the music school I was teaching back then. So naturally, I used that free time very productively and watched YouTube videos. I don't know why exactly that video popped up, but it immediately grabbed my attention. It was about someone who changed his life through the Miracle Morning. It's strange, but it hit something deep in me. A frustration I hadn't been able to name before. So I downloaded the book on Apple Books and read it within 2 days. On day 3, I tried my first Miracle Morning. And to my own surprise, I woke up before my alarm at 6:30. So I followed the instructions and I did the S.A.V.E.R.S. So now you're thinking, Mark, what are the S.A.V.E.R.S? It's an acronym that stands for silence, affirmation, visualization, exercise, reading, and scribing, which is journaling. Each one for 10 minutes, an hour in total. I knew all of these things could improve my life in some way, but I didn't expect how excited and energized I felt. So I proved to myself that I could keep going for another 65 days in a row. And the effects only showed up months later. I felt more energized, focused, and had more creative output in the mornings, which I could use for songwriting and practicing guitar. I also learned how to manage stress and my mood through meditation and breathing. Affirmations helped me to deal with my imposter syndrome. Visualization helped me define who I wanted to become as a musician, as a partner, a son, brother, and as a friend. I got into shape for the first time in my life. Through journaling, I slowly discovered how I could quit my part-time job and become a full-time musician and teacher. I read 13 books that year, which is more than I've read in my whole life. So reading became a habit. And if you want more book recommendations or dive deeper into these topics, join me in my Mindset Monday newsletter. The link is in the description. So some of the books that I read that year were The Artist Way by Julia Cameron, Writing Better Lyrics by Pat Pattison, How to Make It in the New Music Business by Ari Herstad, and Cal Newport's Deep Work. All of that led me to create my own version of the Miracle Morning. So for journaling, I use the morning pages from Julia Cameron's The Artist's Way to clear my mind. And that is writing 3 pages of longhand text to get rid of brain dump. Later, regular journaling became part of my evening routine. I also added object writing from Writing Better Lyrics by Pat Pattison. And that is 10 minutes writing about one object using the 5 senses we know, plus the 6th sense, which is the kinesthetic sense, that is body movement and balance. I also added 10 minutes of guitar practice or practicing your instrument. That could be sight reading, learning scales, or learning new songs, anything. Exercise, visualization, affirmations, meditation, and reading stayed in the routine. All of it gives me mental and physical energy to start the day. And that is incredibly important as a musician and a creator. First of all, you can add any type of activity in your morning routine. For example, drinking water is very important to me because it's the first thing I do after waking up to get my body hydrated, because it is dehydrated after a night. So it's better to start small and continue than to start big and quit. I have made a whole video about that, which is about the power of 1%. Link is in the description. So start by writing down the things you always complain about not getting done during the day. It can also be things that you never started because you were too busy or too distracted. Either way, sit down, take your time, and figure out when you can realistically wake up every morning and how much time you can spend without distractions. If you're a songwriter, for example, block a specific amount of time just for writing. You can also add reading, going for a walk, or affirmations to support your creative mind. So if you want to do the S.A.V.E.R.S, but you only have 50 minutes, you could start like this. 5 minutes of a high-intensity workout to get your heart rate up, followed by 2 minutes of meditation or controlled breathing. Then you could do a minute of affirmations and another minute of visualization, 2 minutes of reading, 2 minutes of journaling, and 2 minutes of practice. So these 15 minutes can disappear so quickly when you spend your time scrolling on the phone in the morning. But think about what those same 15 minutes can turn into over the course of a year. Do the math, it's crazy. There are many studies and even ancient texts that show the benefits of waking up earlier. One of my favorite examples comes from Marcus Aurelius in Meditations. At dawn, when you have trouble getting out of bed, tell yourself, I have to go to work as a human being. What do I have to complain of if I'm going to do what I was born for, the things I was brought into the world to do? Or is this what I was created for, to huddle under the blankets and stay warm? To me, this is the definition of the first win of the day. You do the hard things first, you keep the promise to yourself, you prove, I am disciplined, I show up. And that changes how you see yourself for the rest of the day. You don't start the day in reaction mode, you start in control. So waking up earlier requires going to bed earlier. It also requires to change some social habits and prepare a sleep routine. If you play shows on the weekends, for example, you probably have 2 late nights. You could either sleep in and break your rhythm, or you could wake up at the same time and take a nap later. Both are options. You could also apply the Pareto principle. So you could do your miracle morning or morning routine on 5 days a week and take weekends off. And if mornings are completely impossible for you, choose another time of the day. The real point is, create a time block that is only dedicated for yourself, to work on your mind, on your body, and your direction in life. And there's something special about starting the day knowing you've already invested in yourself. So I hope this video does for you what that video did for me 3 years ago. Let me know in the comments if you want to start a morning routine or what yours already looks like. Leave a like, subscribe if you got something out of this video. Thanks so much for watching and see you in the next one.